Brother and lads, welcome back to Cossy Podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Arsenal planning on storming the South American market for some youngsters. And we are looking at Bitelo, a midfielder from Gremio. We are also looking at a couple of other players. I think the strategy was always, right in this summer, was always to sign some big name players, the likes of Declan Rice. But then Arsenal were also thinking about bringing in some youngsters in the bracket of Gabriel Martinelli, some future youngsters, some players that could actually save the club some cash in the future. We're going to be talking about Balogun to AC Milan. AC Milan are actually closing in. They believe they have the money to actually do that deal. Chelsea and Arsenal are fighting over Elie Wahi. That is a story that I've carried over from the last podcast to this one, but don't worry about that. We're going to be diving into a match of that. And looks like Liverpool are on the cusp of signing Romeo Lavia. He's going to go to Liverpool. And like I said, like I predicted, they want him more. He wants, first team football. He wants to play under a manager like Jurgen Klopp. I think it's the best destination for Romeo Lavia. But if Partey was to leave, honestly, I think Lavia would have been such a great fit. Does this mean that Arsenal could retain the services of Thomas Partey until probably next season, maybe next season, even the season after that? Because Sky are saying that the contract Arsenal want to give Thomas Partey is not what he wants. We're going to be diving into much of that. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. In the comment box below, do you think Thomas Partey at 30, age 30 right now, with 2 years left on his contract, do you think Arsenal should give him another 3 years, probably until 35, because that would actually mean that he stays for another 5 years? Or you think Arsenal are right, give him 1 year plus an extra year for to extend if it does well? I mean, it's our policy with old players. We prefer to let them go and don't spend a lot of money, especially now that that Partey is one of the highest earners at the club. What would you do with Thomas Partey? Give him 1 more year, give him 2 more years, or give him 3 more years? That is the talk in the comment box below. But let's start off with the Romeo Lavia saga, which is actually eventually coming to an end. It's a story we've talked about for quite some time now on the channel. We thought it will be the fourth signing of the summer after Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Jalen Timber. However, it looks like the player has chosen to go to Liverpool because of game time. Now, Arsenal and Liverpool, of course, a couple of weeks ago were already showing big interest in the player. The agent of the player was also notified about our intentions to sign Romeo Lavia. Liverpool entered the market, they entered the race, and they also notified Romeo Lavia of their intention to sign him and give him first choice football. Now, I think with Romeo Lavia here, it's quite very easy. He's a player that is very young, and he looks at Jurgen Klopp, he looks at Mikel Arteta, and he says, these are the managers I want to play for. But then he looks at Arsenal, signing Declan Rice for 100 million, looking at Thomas Partey in that midfield, and he's like, despite the fact that I'm good, despite the fact that I'm this confident, I don't think I have what it takes at the moment to compete with these juggernauts of midfielders. And he's absolutely right. Now, at Liverpool, I think Fabinho is done. Like, I will be very surprised. It will be one of the greatest comebacks for Fabinho to have such an amazing season. Now, I'm not saying he won't have an amazing season. He could have an amazing season. But I think Romeo Lavia has a bigger chance to play every single game for Liverpool next campaign than at Arsenal. I think with Arsenal, if we wanted to play a midfield 2, a double pivot, Partey and Rice, or Jorginho and Rice, if we wanted to play a single pivot, then Rice can sit there alone, or Partey can sit there alone, or Jorginho can sit there alone. So for me, the Romeo Lavia deal, it was just a matter of time before it was hijacked. It was just a matter of time before a better club came in with a better offer. Game time, I think, look, he will miss out on the UEFA Champions League. There's no question about that. There are not so many clubs offering the UEFA Champions League next season. It will be Arsenal, Man United, Manchester City, and Newcastle. But Liverpool being in the Europa League, I think that is a huge step for Romeo Lavia. He won't think about the Europa League and all that crap. He will be thinking, how do I get myself into this Liverpool side? I think Liverpool are such a heavy side. They're such an iconic club that a player doesn't have to think about where they are in Europe. They have to think about, am I even good enough to wear that "you'll never walk alone" statement for Liverpool? So Romeo Lavia to Liverpool, it's edging closer. They've agreed personal terms with him. That is something Arsenal did a long time ago, but it looks like Liverpool have also matched Arsenal in their ambitions to sign Romeo Lavia, and they are more willing to pay at least much more than what Arsenal are willing. And it's much more understandable, and it actually correlates to the story we're going to be talking about, that Arsenal are trying to sign some players from the South American market. I think with Romeo Lavia, again, if you're Arsenal, you have signed Rice, you have Partey, you have Jorginho, and you have Albert Sambele-Konga as well, who could stay because he has an injury and he might not be able to process a transfer away from the club. I think, again, spending another 50 million on Romeo Lavia just doesn't make any sense. You have a 100 million pound signing in Rice, who literally has the engine to cover B2B, box to box, sit in that defensive midfield, and then play 38 games in a campaign. Actually, Arsenal, of course, we don't need a backup. We will always rotate the squad. I believe Mikel Arteta will always do that. But there are players like Rodri, Rice, Casemiro, Fabinho, Busquets. Right. Okay. Those are the ones I could think of. Kimmich as well. Kimmich. Right. There are players like that profile that literally plays every single game. They never get injured. They don't have family parties. They don't lose partners and family to death. Those guys are ever present. Like, they are always there. And it's just to sign a player to back them up, it is more like a courtesy deal. It's more like a courtesy signing. So for me, Romeo Lavia is a right decision, and I never expected him to end up at Arsenal after we making the decision to sign Declan Rice and keeping Jorginho as well. So he's gonna go to Liverpool potentially. Let's wait and see what comes out of there. But I think he will make a good midfielder. He will be a top-class midfielder. If Jurgen Klopp is willing to spend £45 million on a 19-year-old with his scouting, with how good that guy is with young talents, we know what's going to happen. Okay. Now, Arsenal, going to turn to the South American market. This is a story that the Ghana blog actually released at the beginning of this summer, and I actually talked about it. Arsenal plan to storm the South American market for young players. They want to reproduce the likes of Gabriel Martinelli. They want to go for prodigies. They want to go for such profiles. So at the moment, we are linked with a very, very young player in the name of Bitelo. Yeah, that's the name. Bitelo, a midfielder at Gremio. There's so many other clubs watching him as well. There's so many other clubs that are linked to him, but Arsenal are trying to sign him in this summer. Now, I think this is a transfer strategy that so many clubs have actually picked up. Ever since Barcelona signed Neymar from the Brazilian league, the shift of teams to sign players from Brazil and the South American market to the Premier League is actually becoming huge. Endrick was on the transfer radar of Barcelona, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, and Real Madrid. He ended up at Real Madrid. Of course, look, they paid more money than any one of us was willing to pay. Arsenal still were interested in signing Vitor Roque, or Roque. I don't know how you guys pronounce his name, Vitor Roque, from Barcelona. Sorry, from South America. Again, Barcelona did get that deal, but it shows you the focus, where the focus is. Arsenal have a lot of focus on the South American market, and the prices of these players is also going up very, very much. I mean, the South American market was a place where teams could go to sign players worth 3 million euros, 4 million euros, 6 million euros, but it is not like that anymore. You look at players like Danilo. Arsenal wanted to sign Danilo. That was in January. He ended up at Nottingham Forest in a deal worth around 20 million euros, and Arsenal felt like that was a little bit too much to pay at the moment. So the focus on the South American market is actually getting huge. There's a lot of potential there. There is a lot of talent, and there is a lot of money. So I think what Arsenal are trying to do here, it's very, very clever from us and Edu and whatever. We have a sporting director who has direct links and roots in the South American market, to be particular, the Brazilian market. What that does is it allows you to get to have this network to know who is the latest kid on the block, who is the best midfielder on the block, who is the young striker on the block, and everything like that. And that would definitely give us an advantage in scouting, and that gives us an advantage when it comes to signing these young players. Currently, I don't think Arsenal really need big. That's a mistake. I think we do need big names. I think I would do with a huge centre back, but I also think that our phase of signing, our transfer phase right now, demands around 5-6 wonder kids from the South American market. Just to bring them in, a cover for Thomas Partey from Brazil, or probably from Colombia or from Paraguay. I wouldn't care really. A striker or winger from Brazil. It has to be Brazil, just to be specific as well. Midfielders from Brazil and Argentina. It has to be Brazil and Argentina for midfielders, just to be specific. And of course, in other areas, you could go for Uruguay. I like Uruguayan centre backs. They're quite strong, like, to be honest. So, in my opinion, this is what I'm gonna say. If Arsenal are really crazy, and if Arsenal are really interested in players in the South American market, it's a very good move. We are looking at self-sustainability. We are looking at a club that will depend on selling to buy, right? That is the next strategy. That is what we're gonna do next. Sell your assets in order to buy. So if you bring in these players at very cheap fees, 5 million euros, 10 million euros, maybe even 15 million euros, and in the future, you can convert that, into hundreds of millions, in revenue. That is the self-sustainability we are talking about. So let's wait and see what's going to happen, whether we will get some Brazilians onto the squad. Now, AC Milan are progressing to sign Florian Balogun. Milan feel they have the money to get the deal done. I don't think Milan, really want to pay around 50 million euros like Arsenal are quoting, but Milan are actually advancing on the deal. Now, Florian Balogun has had talks with Chelsea. He's in talks with AC Milan as well, and Milan look like the next preferred destination for the American striker. I don't have a problem with that, with Milan and the move. I love Milan. I really, really support AC Milan. They've lost Sandro Tonali. They will need a striker. They do need a striker. Like Origi and Olivier Giroud. I think Giroud could stay, but Origi needs to go. Like, seriously. So if they sign a player like Florian Balogun, 35 maybe 40 million euros in that range, I think they will have gotten a huge asset, like a real asset. And for me, Arsenal just need to do one thing: get that price in the regions of 40 million euros. One. Secondly, we must insert either a sell-on clause or a buyback clause, because we've seen this hype and raise in quality of strikers in Italy recently. Victor Osimhen, Ciro Immobile, the Italian guy, I think is crushing it at Lazio now. Paulo Dybala, Tammy Abraham, Dusan Vlahovic, Gonzalo Higuain. So, it's just Italy is becoming a breeding area for strikers. Like, we used to know Italy as one of the toughest defensive leagues where your striker doesn't stand a chance. These days, strikers do stand a chance. So I see him go at Milan, and they will rebuild around him. They can build a team around him. And I can see him score 20 goals, per campaign for 2 consecutive campaigns. And one big European club is going to try to sign him for maybe 80, maybe 70 million euros. That is when Arsenal need to go, we give you 40 million, you give us 40 million euros, but we can take at least 20 or 30% on a selling clause, or at least a buyback clause. Arsenal could insert a buyback clause of around 55 or 60 million euros in the contract of Florian Balogun. If he does well and we can sign him back, we can definitely get him back, because we are not the best club when it comes to having strikers at the moment. I don't think we are. I don't think we are in the best position. But anyway, Florian Balogun to AC Milan is on. Okay, now Arsenal and Chelsea are in a very big fight again for another transfer window for another player. And that this time it is Montpellier striker Elie Wahi. Now, Chelsea have sounded out Elie Wahi's availability with Montpellier. They would love to. I just don't understand what Chelsea are trying to do in this summer. Elie Wahi is as similar as they can come, or as they can be, to Jackson. Like, Elie Wahi is one of those players that really play like Jackson, the new striker Chelsea have signed. And now they want to sign, they want to sign Wahi after signing Nicholas Jackson. I just don't understand the transfer approach for Chelsea. But one thing you trust Chelsea about is eyeing a young talent, a very good young talent for the future. Like, they have a very good, scouting network, and they have a very good academy as well. So if Arsenal are really interested in Elie Wahi, we've got to be fast and quick. Okay, so that is it from me. Romeo Lavia deal to Liverpool is actually progressing. Arsenal have already retired their interest in that one as well. Florian Balogun to AC Milan is on. Arsenal could actually get some good money out of that. And we are turning our attention to the South American market with players like Bitelo from Gremio on the list for Mikel Arteta and Eddie. I'll see you right in the next one. Hit the like button.